Hello and welcome back to the Bigger Podcast. We are now on episode 8. Who would have thought we'd have even made it this far? It's good.
Going well.
Going well. He forgot to put the microphone to the mouth. This is his second time on here. So we decided, we were supposed to do this a couple of weeks ago, but Stuart decided to go to Barcelona instead. Yep. So I hope it's still fresh. Today's topic is the Recon debrief. So we want to give you a bit of an insight into the background of what went on at Recon. And we have Stuart, we have Sammy, and we have Chrissy, and myself. We were the lead instructors on it. It was an event that we ran. This is out in 2 weeks, so it was an event we ran nearly 2 months ago. Would you say?
2 months.
That's
2
mental.
months. 2 months.
Definitely flew past.
Passed already.
11th of June it was, because it was my son's birthday.
That tends to happen a lot. This actually came into my optics probably before Christmas time. I was on a call with Lenny. Lenny is the main director, CEO, or whatever you want to call him, the big guy down at ECA, who used to own this jumper. That's a touchy subject. And we were like, I want to do something that's a bit chaotic, because in here, the Ray Academy is like, it just goes so swimmingly all the time because we have such a great team, that I had almost put myself out of a job because everything was going so well. I was just like the mascot. So I said, what can I do to cause a bit of a stir, especially in the fitness industry? And we thought, there's no better group of people to hold an event such as Recon. And then whenever I came to use, what was your first thought whenever I remember I said to do first, Stuart, I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. I want to torture people for 2.5 days straight.
Yeah, when do we start?
I was exactly it. Like, let's get going. Yeah, I get excited. I am. Beat stage.
The answer is yes. Now, what's the challenge?
And then it did take a lot of planning. We originally expected up to 80 people, but we were humbled, but it was good to see. I think we ended up with 20 that started, 22 maybe?
No, just over 20, yeah.
And you think we should know that answer. But it was almost good because there was a few teething issues that we found out straight away. Before we get into what the event actually happened on the event, one of the biggest things I thought is we nearly burnt ourselves out because we forgot that we were going to have to do this all with them. But we had to obviously organise the stuff in the background, and we were like kids at Christmas. Like, I don't think I slept the night before.
Well, I think like in the week and the 2 weeks up to it, we didn't stop.
Yeah.
You know, we needed to be winding down a wee bit to allow for that energy that we're going to use on the course. And we didn't do that. So I think that was a wee minor mistake.
Yeah.
When we do it again, I think I would taper down towards it.
I even give ourselves like even from the Wednesday.
Yeah.
Because I don't think a lot of, well, obviously this is probably the majority of the gym ones that listen to this, but we actually start our first class at 5 a.m, which was a bit unheard of. I remember the first time I pitched it to another gym owner outside of Mackerfelt, and he thought my head was cut. Yeah. But I thought, this is the best time for people to exercise, 5 a.m.
Probably one of our most popular classes.
And the busiest.
Yeah.
It's the hardest one to get into.
But that was maybe 5 years ago. But that's sort of what our ethos is to do go against the norm. Like you have people that have these big events, but they're all in gym based. I think we had a lot of new followers come on and watch what Recon was, but if you look back at our previous things, it's all similar to what we ran that weekend.
Yeah, it's just it was condensed and obviously a bit less sleep and
a bit less sleep.
a wee bit.
Like it started on the Friday. We got everyone to come be there for, I think it was 6 p.m. It was all nice the first. I've never seen us be as nice to people. We'd done our icebreakers. We got to know everybody. But what they didn't know was that you were over at the side, taking notes.
Well, I was, and I didn't know I was going to be using those notes until tonight. But when I was sitting there listening to, as you say, the icebreakers, people introducing themselves, their backgrounds, and their aspirations for the course, I've looked back at them since then. Even today, I was recording and working out percentages for what people wanted to achieve. And of course, the top one was to test themselves. 80% of the people on it actually said, I want to test myself. I want to prove who I am. The next big thing was 80% again, wanted to build confidence. Now, these are all gentlemen who are trained PTs, gym owners, whatever. So you'd imagine the confidence would be quite high. But again, confidence isn't permanent. And these people wanted to improve it and then test themselves. So I found that very interesting. The third big answer was a brotherhood. Mm-hmm. They wanted to form friendships with like-minded people working in the same sphere. And that sort of got me thinking again, well, does that not exist in gyms? It doesn't really exist even in Macrofeld, so through the country probably doesn't exist. You know, I know you've went on before, Keith, saying about you'd rather help somebody in order to help other people rather than try and step over another gym owner.
Yeah.
And again, that was coming through in the icebreakers. There was a 5% entry in that. One gentleman wanted just to be more manly.
Oh, yes.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
But that's the one that earned my most respect because
He was honest.
everything is incorporated in being more manly. Because it was for men. And to come and want to be more of a man on a man's course, I thought that was nail on the head.
Just stepping up and signing up for it was, you don't get much more
No,
manly than that.
so I thought that was, it stood out to me because he was the only one who said it, who alluded to wanting to be more masculine, more manly. And I just thought that, that'll do.
How many of them you think were thinking, damn, that was damn good answer?
Yeah. But this one individual is pretty good at the answer.
I actually remember, because when you say about more confidence and stuff, people look at us when we stand in front of a class of 14, 15, and we can give a full debrief on what's going on. We can answer questions we can come on podcasts and stuff. But it wasn't until Lenny came around the back and he was like, you fancy going up and doing an icebreaker too? And I felt the sweat go down my back because I'm not the most confident person. And I think a lot of people find it strange. I'm really introverted. Like if you asked Alex, if we go to like a restaurant or something and say I ordered a steak and they came out with like a mushroom omelette, my worst nightmare, I'd be like, thank you very much. And I would force myself to eat that. Because
I'd be like,
same as myself.
Well, I think you hit the nail on the head there, like, because you said Lenny. And people always say about standards in the gym and how do you set your standard, how do you keep your standard high? And for me, it's a wee dopey thing. I always imagine two people on each shoulder, Lenny on one and you, the gym owner, on the other. And they're watching me coach. So to actually have Lenny beside you or behind you on that course, that I found that my confidence was a wee bit shaky. Nervous.
These two got up and gave an icebreaker and I was like, I should have won first. How am I supposed to back this? And like
You're the one that told me to go in there. I was like, well, here I go.
And like I have done nothing but plug him all day today. It's like send it to every podcast I can get in contact with, and I was like, you just need to hear this man's story. I tackled the Remamas today, didn't I? I was like, stop going on about these influencers that you see who are fashion. I was like, you need to go. You get that man a cup of tea and ask him about his life because you have had a damn good life, both of you. Me and you over here, we're just Marfell through and through.
Ah, you're right.
But it's getting the right stage to open up. So it's only, I know I speak, well, I'm not speaking for Sammy, but I know we're coming from the same background and the same traumas and things like that. But it is hard to get to that right stage to do it. And again, it's only within this atmosphere and the atmosphere of that course that I found that I am sort of compelled to speak now.
Yeah.
You know, so yes, it was a physical challenge. And
So you actually took away from that course what we were trying to instill into these fine gentlemen.
Well, we always say, even in Ray here, it's not just one-way traffic. It's two-way
100%.
traffic.
Yeah.
You know, and I learned from that course. And I challenged myself on that course. I disappointed myself on that course at one stage for not speaking. You know, so, and that's driven me on again. I'm not going to miss that opportunity again.
But I think that could come down to a lot of fatigue too. Like I remember the last day whenever they were away doing jiu-jitsu I late just sat down. I fell asleep.
But I think that's another challenge again, coming from Sammy's background, your background, my background. You have to perform under fatigue. You know, you can't.
Maybe I'm just getting a wee bit soft. I may have to sign up for a recon next year.
That's part of it.
And that there's why you're bringing them in. You're seeing how they handle the pressure, tired, cold, wet.
So again, I disappointed myself on that one, but it's a learning curve. It's always a learning curve.
Well, we'll actually be at the ECA Summit. We will have our own stand and we are going to be doing a damn good offer to any gentleman who actually want to sign up for Recon 2024. It won't be similar to the first one because we've learned a lot of lessons from it.
Yeah.
But going on, that's why we can open up and tell you about it, because I'm sure like our social media, this was the social media man right here. He was the man behind the camera. Chris,
Yeah.
I say, you got it tough too.
I was cold now.
It was like, we've been through all that. We've been on the other end of this. Were you not looking at it thinking, what is going on? The way these boys down Portchurch Strand.
Oh, definitely. Like it was a pure eye opener. Like.
I reckon Chris, you just sign up for
It's
it.
funny, at the time, like, you're like, what is this all about?
But we done all the icebreakers, sure took notes. And this was the reason, because we told them, right, if I was you lot, I'd go to bed because you have an early start. You need about 5 o'clock, have breakfast. And who knew 2.5 hours later we'd kick a door in. We stormed into the room.
And you broke my finger.
Tell them.
So Keith had a great idea, get me 2 big saucepan lids, and I cracked them together and I just folded in them in knuckles. He's like, bang them lids. I was like, I broke my finger.
And then the wee siren thing didn't work halfway, but it was a good job. Darren had the big light. I think that was more of a shock. We dragged all these guys out, and we were like, look, you are on 15 minutes notice to move. Get out, get on. We had a parade square at the back. We're like, get out there, get on parade. They came out, everyone was roaring and goldering at them, and then they got on a minibus. And I think that was the first thing that probably shocked them, because they didn't know where they were going. There was no instructors with them. We were away on with the pickup and the trailer. Took them Portia Strand and put them through what I could only call was, they could have took us up for assault. Then the police landed. The police landed, but
As soon as they left, I was like, let's go, we're good to go.
they were more interested. About 200 meters down the beach, there was a load of skinny dippers. They were having the best time of it, and then they didn't even question. The skinny dippers didn't even question what was going on, because the police came over and they were like, "What's going on here?" And Lenny was like, "Oh, these guys are military. They know what they're doing." And they were like, "We need to ask one of these people. Like, are they here against their will?" And I was like, they've paid to be here. But it was like, there was logs involved, and it was like, there was quite a good bit of thrashing. And the week up to it, I'd actually spoke to sisters, nurses, and I was like, what is the one thing we need to do if we give these guys hypothermia? That's not the how far we're going to push them, but it was a worry of mine, because we had looked into, submerging them constantly into the water, because it's the first thing that would break anybody's getting cold. It'd be the first thing to break me, cold.
And the water was warm.
Well, I think that's a good thing to point out, actually, is everything we did, we just didn't make up.
Yeah.
We've all been through it.
Yeah.
A variation of it or something similar along the same lines. Of what those people were being subjected to wasn't just something we got off YouTube. This was something we did on our training, on our courses. I think it makes it authentic. I like that word, authentic. But
that's what Francis said. Francis ECA Donegal, he was saying he wouldn't have went and done this if he had knew we hadn't have done it.
Right.
When we a good video of him actually saying it. Right. It's like he wouldn't have just went to any willy-nilly, because he knew we'd been through it.
That speaks volume. Like you got it.
That's why I say we are. If we didn't run this, who in this island would have the authority to run something like this?
Yep.
With the backgrounds. Yep. But so I kept sending them out to use, and then bringing them in, and it was like, who's VW? And VW stands for voluntary withdrawal. And we kept asking them, kept putting them in the water, and they were doing sit-ups. This had gone on about an hour and a half, would we say? And you guys were getting tired beasting them.
Your voice was near.
They were up and down the beach. Darren was soaked through the bone because he kept coming in the water with me, and
he loved it though.
We had one guy. He had an injury, and he was the first one away. And I thought, well, if one goes, the next one will not be too far behind.
He does. Like, I've seen that happen all the time.
But then Punk Rocker came out. Is it Punk Rocker? They all started singing. We'll give you a rendition of it.
Chrissy will.
We'll get sued.
Definitely.
But they started singing Punk Rocker, and I looked at you and I was like, they've beat us. They've won.
Yeah, that's the response.
Tried again. We tried for another half hour, and I was like, right, just get on the.
Well, I sort of looked at that differently. I sort of thought we had won, because we got across the point that we wanted.
Yeah.
When they as a collective sung that song at us, not for us, but at us. And I thought, okay, lads, you are on the right page now. That's it. I thought that was good.
And I think
we created courses like that, that big bond, like on courses I've done before. Like if you gel as a team, it's easier. Whereas if you start bickering and you're fighting or not doing everything together, like doing the setup together, that never falls apart, and you start losing people.
Yeah. So got them on the bus, got them back. Breakfast time. I would like to thank my mum and Sammy's mum.
Yes.
They pulled out all the stops. They were in charge of hospitality, what we call it. They fed them, because this was an all-inclusive. We don't mess about. And then what happened after that? You take over the next part.
So we're rocking.
You rocked them
to
out.
the jungle.
And a rock is?
So weight, well, they didn't have a lot of weight. Maybe up for next
normally we would have about £35 minimum.
£35.
These had about
About
10
15.
Would it even be?
Would have been by the time you take the water and that.
4 kilos of water.
And then headed down. So because we had to stay off the main road, then we went up around a bit of the mountain and jogged down. Basically, I was just getting them moving.
I think it was the best time to get them. They all started talking then until you took off. There's a few times I was like, is he going to stop? The minibus
I get my train then.
we got them down to the Jungle NI, which is a massive outdoor area, which we are very, very lucky that we get to use. We run rampages and stuff down there, and we hit them up for that. But we got them down there, and that's whenever the main bulk of it started to happen. I can't even remember what order it all sort of went in.
Jiu-jitsu after that.
Was that when Jiu-Jitsu came in? I used to
We had set up the things in
went
between.
for a wee shower and a shave. I thought, here, I can stick this. I'm not even that tired. And I sat on the wee train things, and I woke up like 2.5 hours later, and they were still doing jiu-jitsu, and I was like, what is going on?
I was supposed to be away getting rest, and I didn't get sleep. I got a message saying, can you go earlier?
So they learned hand-to-hand combat, because like, as I think it was Lenny says, everyone's a tough guy to get punched in the face.
Yes.
And I think a few people wanted to get punched in the face. But no, they tore on out in the big green. It was actually really nice to see, because they were all having the crack and stuff. And like,
Maybe bring Millen in then for
bear in mind, some of these guys technically hadn't slept since the Friday morning. So they were going rightly. This was maybe 10 o'clock. And then we took them. Did me and you take over then?
Rampage after.
We ran about a 2-hour obstacle course, and like they got soaked, they got mucked, they had the clean walls,
rivers,
barbed wire crawling. So like
through the tunnels. everything.
At this stage, they would have been. I was exhausted. But that light was shouting at me there. I was exhausted. Never mind them. And then we took them into a bit of survival training, which I thought was absolutely brilliant.
Yeah.
There you go.
We'll not go into too much detail on what happened. You have to come on recon to understand the ins and outs of it. But
Barbecue might help the next time.
That's a touchy subject. But no, so at this stage,
I think everybody's over now. Right?
and they're all alive still. At this stage, they'd done. So you bear in mind, they'd done an absolute thrashing on the beach, like a thrashing. Been home, they did. There was no hot water.
No.
We didn't have the hot water turned off. Them lovely mothers of ours set off the smoke alarm, which it turns off all the heating and all that sort of stuff.
Throw them under the bus. There's me thinking we're all one team. Sorry, Mum, my lives were
So they hadn't even like had as much as a hot shower, and we had them dipped in and out of rivers and everything. Fed barely for lunch, and then what was after that? Somebody keep me right.
We looked back and
we had to go the whole way back again. It was actually that was probably the first night that we realised that we should have took shifts more so, because it was great giving them sleep. You have to give people so many hours sleep because they were travelling the next day, so like a duty of care. But next year there's no. We'll not give too much away with that. But at this stage, like they were all talking about watching. Was the Champions League final on or something?
Yes.
Yeah,
Never happened. Hey, these boys were all going to go down to the wee bar, get a wee coke, and watch today. Every one of them snoring by the time we came back.
yeah.
And then the next morning was probably one of the most extreme things I've ever seen these boys do. Anyone do?
well, some of them didn't even tip up. That was enough for them. Then you get out across here.
I'm not going to name you, right? But if you're listening to this, at least have the decency of Texas to tell us you're VW and just sort of sneak away in the middle of it and use the same excuse. You must have been in cohorts then. It's like got mixed up who was using what excuse.
But again, I think that's another valid point. Like people, for whatever reason, dropped out.
Yeah.
But like that's the level it was at. It wasn't just to turn up and attend and get a wee certificate job. This was something they had to really go at and hang in there. And it tested them. And some people, well, for whatever reason,
The day was enough for them.
So it again,
No, in fairness, like even to make it that far, I'd give you a t-shirt.
Yeah, but to finish the whole thing, like that's a badge to wear, like you know, I definitely won't.
I always said it was Francie says, you know, everyone's getting these blue ticks for $11.99. He was like, they should give you some kind of recon badge. If your coach has a recon badge, they are a coach. They deserve your money. But the next day we took them off. They thought they were going back to the jungle. So they thought they were getting that. It was about 4.5 miles, was it?
Yeah.
And instead of going on, we took a
Instead
left.
of going right, we just went
straight up.
along.
And
Something didn't even realise, you know,
I
until
know.
they got up to the crossroads.
so anyone that
That's how
knows,
tired they were the day before.
anyone that knows Slave Galleon, we walked them from the Manor House in Moneymore up to the viewpoint. And when they got to the viewpoint, our famous green 100-kilo stretcher was sitting waiting on them.
So that was about 7 mile up at that point. 7 mile
7
uphill
mile.
before we even got the stretcher.
And we picked up the stretcher, took it the whole way up to the cross at the top of Slave Galleon for a photo. And then we had to take a second photo because we forgot about somebody.
Yeah.
We took a photo.
You got there?
We got there.
You got
To be
there.
fair, we thought he was on the bus, and
He wouldn't get, nobody would get on that bus.
No.
So we had the bus behind the whole time, and the one thing we kept going on to people was like, "Do you want to get on the bus? Do you want to get on the bus? Get on the bus."
Just trying to break them.
Aye,
warm.
but it's warm. It's got a comfy seat, but nobody would give in. Got up to the viewpoint, which is or up to the cross, which is insane. And we brought it back down, and the whole plan was to put it onto the bus after we got over the fence.
Yeah.
And I looked at you, and I was like, "These boys aren't slowing down."
No.
So they ended up taking it on, and Sammy just went rogue. But it worked. It worked.
Yeah.
At the time, I was like,
Seniors, you do that, and I thought it was the best. Like literally, blokes trying to drag a stretcher, up, and I was like,
while you were dragging them down there, I was going through
I
my
know you were
insurance.
coming down. You were coming down flat, and I was like, look, they're all working. It's great. I love it.
At that stage, there was no one left behind. At that stage,
Well, everyone ended up stuck in together, to be fair. But like, I was trying to get 5G or 4G or some sort of G just to go into my insurance document to make sure this was covered. And it wasn't. Anything about 100-kilo stretchers is not covered by insurance. But
So they could have hurt themselves on the road.
you know what I mean? And they took this stretcher the whole length, the whole way down to near the bottom of
On the Turgan Road.
Turgan Road. I don't know any of these roads, but Sammy was there for that reason. And then we took them on into the jungle, and this was supposed to be the finish. We were like, well done, everyone. You've done unbelievable. We're going to get you on the bus, get you back, get you a barbecue. And then Francie was like, is this it over? And I was like, it's over. And he was like, I was like, what's your biggest fear? And he was like, well, if he's had open water where I couldn't touch the bottom. I was like, I have to go to the toilet.
The lights were
And I went straight over, and I rang Michael Holgate. He runs Splash. It's a big water park outside Moneymore. And I was like, any chance I could bring 16 strapping men up there and just have a wee bit of a fun on the beach part? And he was like, bring them on ahead. And like, bear in mind, this was over, and we put them through maybe another hour and a half of absolute.
It was an hour and a half. I felt every minute of it. I was grand for about the first 15 minutes after. I was like, yeah, so you going to finish here? What's the crack?
So what we done, we had the wee beach part, and then we had nothing. We had no like prominent feature to send them out to every time your partner had to swim out while the other one was doing the exercise. I was like, I know such a prominent feature. It's like, Sammy, strip down your shorts and swim out there.
I volunteered to be fair. I didn't realise I was going to be out here for that long.
So bear in mind, people go out here, if they do a cold water submersion 15-20 minutes at a top, or they wear a wetsuit. And he was out there holding on to his wee pink buoyancy.
I didn't even have hands at the end of it.
And then my whole favorite part of the whole experience was they did sing Happy Birthday for your son.
Yeah,
which was
yeah.
nice. So they were out treading water. I was like, right, we'll see who's the last person treading water. I sent them all out treading away, and I was like, right, who wants the VW? A couple of guys submerged. We had to pull them in, but that was the end of the course. Give them that. Just not great swimmers. And they all started singing again. But then I think it was, I can't remember who it was, and I was like, any of you want to come in? And he was like, no, you may get that bus round and go sit on it. And I was like, all right, that's it, Don, come on, and we'll go to the barbecue. But what would you say your highlights? That was one of my highlights. Every time they sung, I was like, this is absolutely brilliant.
You seen it in your face every time they were singing. You were loving life yourself, like.
Even sung Ed Sheeran for me, which was
Sort of give you that extra high.
Extra high. I was like, because that's when we knew that, brotherhood isn't an easy thing to form. You know yourself. If people don't have the same personalities or they have some things in common, it's not happening. Especially in how passionate I am about the fitness industry and how I've rapped nearly every gym door in this town, and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds great, but then they never get back to you. And they would be the first ones to complain that the industry's a quiet, lonely place.
Doesn't have to be.
Because it doesn't have to be. And these guys, straight after, they all still talk about it. They're all still tagging each other in videos and stuff.
Every time you put something up there, the first on it.
And I was like, you know what, we've just made that a bit smaller, made that big space a bit smaller. But enough about me being all soft. Stuart, highlight of that weekend.
Well, I can't go past that either. I think I've already said it was the fact that they responded. Every time we hit something at them, and we weren't pulling many punches, like, but they just kept coming back.
I think the benefit was though, we didn't need them to come back at the next class. You know, like if we were at the
They were
keep going. We having like you've got this.
it was
Get
just
on the bus.
Or you want?
no. The fact that they just kept bouncing back, getting louder and louder each time, and the whole way through it, there was like humor.
Yeah.
There was, we comment here, we comment there. There was no silence. There was always that wee bit of humor. And I always think humor just lifts that. If you're miserable, if you're getting it really tight and somebody comes out with a wee word or a wee line, that just sparks you. And that was constant the whole way through. So I enjoyed that. It's something I miss from my past, from my training. And it was evident there. And I thought that was, we all know that.
Because remember that time I took the two Adams and we were up Steve Gallion. We went up the Enniscarn way, and then it was a guy who said it was like you could talk unfiltered. You didn't have to hold anything back. I said my face hurt from laughing that much.
So I'm still ears while listening to this.
And then on the way back down, like bear in mind, we'd all been in at least around 10 years in the army, about 10 years, and we got lost on the way back down Steve Gallion. Could not find our way out. I was supposed to be the guy leading it, and I was like, I have no clue where we are. And I got a barbecue and all the bottom, and I was like, this is one of the 4 hours, and it lifted me for well over a month.
No, that was a great buzz for me. Was just that the banter, the humor, and like we were there, we were trying to give it hard, like, but there was times I couldn't. I could see trying to stifle a laugh, like because somebody came out with a real beaut, like it was. I think that was the running highlight through that humor. They maintained that the whole way through. They weren't beat,
even regardless how tired they were.
Yeah, no matter what we were doing to them, there was always a wee chirp. And I like that, like, I like that.
Well, I'm going to ask Sammy, I'm going to give you 3 seconds, but you can't use Stuart's.
I've already got mine lined up.
Oh,
I've already got it lined up.
See, when it's one-on-one with Sammy,
I've had time to think.
he either has to breathe or think.
My highlight was the bit you were talking about. You're checking the insurance, seeing you absolutely clip, and then looking back up on mine, seeing every one of the blokes getting around the stretcher and helping it down off the side of that cliff for the mountain. That was my highlight. Because we're all together.
Was like that. If you're watching this on Spotify, the mountain was like that, and this 100 kilo stretcher, and there was boys just leaning into it, and I was like, I just stopped looking at him.
But seeing you like that, and then watching them doing that, it brought obviously the memories back. Like seniors is brutal. You're coming up out a valley like that there, and you're on your hands and knees, and it's the exact same thing. And it brought back memories for me. And
body armor on.
And whenever I turned around and said to you, and was like, "Look, they're all together. They're all working together. Is that not what this is about?" And you were just, "Oh, hey, you got a point."
I just haven't slept in 2 days.
That was my highlight. I got you.
Chris,
my highlight.
Yeah.
My highlight would be literally just sitting back. I was doing the social media, so I seen all three and the looks in your faces whenever them boys were being beasted, as you say, and coming back at you in a brotherhood that what Junes were trying to get them to do, even though you were trying to get them to feed up you and all that. It just actually made me think, I'm lucky to be a part of E. That was my highlight of it.
But we were asking them to VW, but I think it would have broke my heart if somebody had a VW. I actually said to Lenny, if any of these VW, you go have a word with them, give them a wee cuddle, wee kiss in the cheek, and he's like, come on back.
You'd be a good man at that.
But here, just whenever you say that, this was like your first insight. Like, Chris is my brother, by the way, because we look very alike.
I'm the better looking one.
I don't know. I think his camera's good. It's not like an Android. But that's me jokes for Alex. So this was your like first proper. Well, you were on Rise and Conquer.
Yeah.
But like from never really experiencing this sort of stuff to actually getting to be stuck into it. What's your like impression of it? Like, do you not think like these boys? What's this all about? No.
No, I trust you.
Just turn up and smile.
Turn up, smile,
and wave,
and do what I'm asked.
Do it well.
Hey, you couldn't be that. Do what you're asked. But on to our next big challenge: selling tickets for Recon. what would your advice be to somebody who could potentially be like watching this, who looked back at the videos and were like, gee, that looked phenomenal. Like, remember I actually changed my Instagram to private because there was about 600 people who weren't following me watching my stories, and I was like, here, look, if you want to watch my stories, you're going to follow me on Instagram. Yeah, I want more following with you. But what would you say to those people who were like, I wish I had done that, but nah, maybe next year? What would you say to them?
Well, if that's their mentality, maybe next year, then it's definitely not for them.
I was literally thinking the exact same thing.
Because this is not like turn up at a fun park and wee fun and games and
100%.
wee races and things like that. This is serious. As I've already said, this is authentic. This is what we have done on our courses and our training.
And you have to want.
Yeah, and this
It's
is
like
a test.
Them icebreakers, like 100%, what they were coming out with.
Yeah.
As always, them's the lads who you're like, yeah, right, they're here for the right reason.
The right reasons.
Whereas, like, if you're standing up there and you're giving a half willy-nilly, you're just here because it looks cool.
Good, yeah.
It would be great to plaster everything. You're never going to last.
No.
Never.
You'll be away home.
And like, sorry, I would say as well, like, don't take it lightly. You need to prepare for this. You know, like, you need to train. If you're signing on the dotted line to go for it, you need to prepare mentally and physically to do this, because this is, as that one gentleman did, he wanted to come and man up, be more manly, and that's what one of the major rewards of it is. You will come out of it feeling top dog. Like, you know, you've went through challenges that, like, to get into certain units that you've had to pass, and that's what they're having to do. They're having to pass tests.
Yeah.
So I definitely, if there's any doubt, you know, no, you have to be really committed, really focused to get through this. And as you've said, next year is going to be another step up.
We know what we need to do.
Yeah, another step up.
But the one thing I noticed as well is, like, the fitness is important, because, like, getting from A to B wasn't easy on any of those sort of things, but it wasn't impossible.
No.
Like, I remember reading the email went out and they were like, look, we can give you a program to get you fit and stuff and all. But it's a lot of mentality. It's like, it's not like we're telling you need to get from this here to here in an hour.
It's the not knowing.
It's go until you can't go, until you can't go anymore. And, like, I think a lot of people haven't got that.
That's it. That's
gym
our
sessions
training.
are an hour long.
That was our training. Like, we spent months of doing that. Like, when's this going
All
to
you
end?
needed to know was, like, when's whispers.
kept away, and there
Whispers
you go.
were always the same. When's the index? Does anyone know when the index is? But, like, the one thing that nobody ever dawned on is, like, they never stopped. They never had a minute, and, like, they kept going and going, and they didn't know when the actual whole course was going to end. Like, how many times did I mention a barbecue and they were like, nah, you're full of it.
It's even that night, like, as they went to sleep on the Saturday night, obviously, because they were driving the next day, like, some of them were just waiting on the door, lying staring at the door, waiting on the door coming, and it was like,
You were called a liar a few times, like, weren't you?
I don't. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, I would be the first one to
bend the
say-
truth, maybe. Maybe miss a few things out.
But, like, I think one of the biggest transformations was we had a guy, the youngest fellow in the course was 18, was he?
17.
17.
Finished his
For
course.
him to come into that environment where
Yes.
it was all condition, the right word, experience, personal trainers, gym owners, and he was brand new to the industry, and we pulled him up to the front,
I was watching a video the other day. I was like, that was a class moment. That was.
and, like,
Really good
he does every hour we've seen a different step in his ladder. I remember, if people don't know, I'm deaf in one ear, like badly deaf in one ear, getting a new hearing aid, be here soon, but, like, connects to my phone and all. An
Excellent.
iPhone, that's class.
So if I can ring you,
No, it's still not answer. People are like, here,
Yeah, still not answer.
do you have an Apple Watch? You know when you get notifications? Like, nah.
I got turned off.
But on his first day when he was talking, I couldn't hear him. He finished the whole thing. He's like, anyone any questions? And I asked him something he'd said, but I was like, I'm sorry, but, like,
I struggled. I was like, proper.
But, like, by the end of it, we had him up the front. He was roaring.
Yeah, but it was the blokes reacted as well, and that would help build that brotherhood again, build his confidence up.
So, like, I think all in all, we'd be hard on ourselves because we're not perfectionists, but we like things to be done to a certain standard.
Very much
You
so.
spend a lot of time
Very
raising
much so.
standards.
Yes.
But all in all, I think Recon 2023, the first class 001, I think it was a damn success.
Yeah,
We-
definitely.
I believe we changed those 16, 17 people who made it, and I think we changed their outlook.
Well, I think the aspirations that they came with, I think they all met their aspirations, if not more so than they expected. You know, like definitely people were walking away. You seen it at the barbecue at the end. They were standing a wee bit taller. They were speaking out.
They were talking.
You know, it was just that bond was there. They were happy. They were settled with each other. They were confident speaking up, speaking out. And I think, you know, that's a win-win. Win-win. You know,
It'll be a lot more disciplined next year, I think, too. Be no tops off. There'll be everyone in the same tops, and it's going to be I'm cracking the whip. It's going to be them boys are going to be scared to wipe their nose when they're on the road.
That road we run up the mountain a few times. I clean the windows in that road. And the woman was like, "Did you have a load of ones off and up Island?" I was like, "Don't even talk to me. Why do you think I sped up? I want to get away from them."
I think we did. We should have took a wee note before. Like I wasn't expecting.
I didn't expect to take it off.
So, because we're just used to 3 ranks, standard attention. We're used to it, but these guys never experienced that before. So I think next year we'll bring Warren. Warren
Tighten the gaps.
Wasman, he'll be the job look.
but even forming rank. That was a learning curve for them guys. That was a mood setter because they'd never done it before.
That boy standing there.
Yeah, like both arms out. Yeah, you know.
But it's just us learning too. But definitely looking forward. Are you interested in taking coaching roles next year?
As long as it's not over the boys' birthday, then we got me at the same state place.
Same rate of pay as well. But no, I think if you have any questions about Recon, you know, this is all our Instagram names. Get them asked now, or if you've just any questions in general, like between everyone sitting here now, I said all the time, there's so many influencers, there's so many people follow, but like the stories that can be told here are amazing, and that's one of the reasons I started this podcast is because I wanted to show people who they were working with, who they were being coached by, or just who they were walking past in the street, and like it's amazing to see it every time. Like yesterday or this week, I've been stopped a few times, and people are just like, "Yeah, that podcast was powerful," and I was like, all the years I've been coaching or opened a gym or, you know, done all these mad events, the podcast is good. It's got nothing to do with the gym. But any last words from you, lad? Because, you know, these seats are comfortable.
No, I just obviously we have been through like what we were putting them through, and I think even just looking back now that I'm in the fitness industry, I'm looking back at what I've achieved in my army career and looking at it at a different way. It was like, right, how did that help me? And I'd like almost doing an after action review. And it's like, right, let's implement that into like obviously the Recon. And it's like, well, if I can get that out of doing that, if we put them through the same thing they're going to get, and like it builds you, it sets your standard, and then next thing you go again and you keep raising it and keep raising it. So.
Well, I think this year or for next year, like I had a thing in my head and a vision of how I wanted it to look. So I never went and sought advice, especially like you've done seniors, you've done pathfinders, all that sort of stuff. I was like, no, this is how I wanted it. I never thought of coming down and saying out and stuff. So I think next year I'm going to be more like, here, what do you think we should do?
I think
I opened the more
we always miss each other in here as well. So like it's making the time to get in.
Don't tell any of that because we're supposed to have like quarterly meetings and stuff. Who's got time for that? Edit that out.
Looking forward to it.
No, well, again, there was no doubt a lot of those boys completely out of their comfort zones physically.
Comfort zones, we didn't even mention it.
Yeah, well, no. But another comfort zone was the one that we tackled a wee bit, but I think we could have done more with, and that was the mental, but getting boys to talk. Now, that's where I disappointed myself, because up at the campsite, there was the beginnings of talking. There was a great chat from Phil, obviously, setting the scene, but it died after that. Now, I'm not saying about lectures or presentations or anything, just people to speak openly and honestly, men, because we all have problems speaking. But I think that was an opportunity that we missed. I would like to see a wee bit more of that. You know, just opening up, sharing. Everybody has a story, and there's 2 or 3 fellas spoke, and I must admit, I ended up having to go over to one of the fellas afterwards and just thanking him, you know, because what he said just, it blew me away, like, you know. And I think everybody has something, and I would just like to see that development, opening up and sharing out of that comfort zone.
Because like everyone there had, as you say, had a story.
Everybody.
Because they always say, And it's true that if everyone put all their problems on the table, you'd be very quick to grab your own back. Because like some of the people that were coming up with things there, I was like, geez, we only thought we had it rough. Like,
But there's also so many answers
yeah,
in that campsite. So many answers. You have a problem, yes, but there's so many boys there who have maybe lived through the same thing, experienced it, worked through it, passed through it, or whatever, and they have answers. So they share the answers.
Yeah.
You know.
I think we need another men's day.
Mm-hmm.
Just take them to the beach first.
Don't say that. Because first podcast, future coach, because you're going on your ECA course in August, aren't you?
Yeah, the 22nd. Can't wait.
Can't wait. What's your after action review?
Oh, for the recon. After action review, I would actually love to do it myself.
There you go. He's doing it next year.
Like I would sign on the dotted line right now.
Whether we need somebody that can use an Apple or an iPhone, because Chrissy's doing recon.
Happy days. Cause, like, as I say, like the after action review, I came across a couple of coaches on Instagram and I followed them, and I actually went down through their videos and see from after recon, you see how how much more they're coming across, like on their videos, as in, like,
I wish I had your time here for the deal.
well, whenever
come August.
whenever you're meant to be working, like, you can scroll on social media sometimes. But
I hope your boss doesn't listen.
I do not care. I do not care. But no, as I say, like I follow a few of them on social media, Instagram, and from recon, you've noticed that they've more confidence about their videos and what they're coming across with, going through their Instagram. But like at the end of the day, what I would love to achieve from recon is the brotherhood that them boys got from it.
Do you not like the brother you have?
Well, the difference is in in everybody's family.
Yeah.
You done well there, Skirt. No, that's good.
No, but as I say, like even whenever I'm only coming up to, give a hand with something or any other thing like that, I'm welcomed in with open arms with your community, the community, everything about it. Like, so what I want for myself is, with a recon, if I do it next year, I would sign on a dotted line.
If I do.
When?
I'll do it.
You have shafted yourself.
No, I'll do it.
Can you swim?
Brother, of course I can. The brotherhood with
You a year?
complete strangers.
Yeah.
That's what I meant. Like, the brotherhood with complete strangers.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. So yeah, thank you very much for listening to us ramble on again. How you get the time to listen to this, beyond me. That is episode 8 done. If you haven't already, can you subscribe to any of the channels that you're listening to? It just shows us that you are listening, because half the time we think we're just talking to ourselves. We use this as a bit of therapy, a bit of marriage counselling, you name it. It happens here. But other than that, tune in next week. Myself and Alex are back on, and I think it'll be an interesting one. Keep safe.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Thanks for having me.